Hey everybody, just want to get back and show you a couple new things that's happening with Illustrator 2024 with the Creative Cloud. We're going to look at the shape tools and we'll make them really easy. And the first thing you want to do with the shape tools is you'll see there's a little small little white triangle on the bottom of it. That means that there are several different tools underneath it. So if you click and hold, left click and hold, you'll see that there are rectangle, ellipse, polygon, star, and line segment. You know what I like to do is I like to make sure that I can see my tools and kind of set on a palette of tools. So I come over here to the far right, and you'll see see how it just darkens up. That's called the tear off. If I hover over it and I release, notice my tools tear off. So then instead of me going back here and clicking every single time and doing one of these, I just have to click like this. So let's look at the square tool. It's two ways to make a square. The first thing is, or rectangle. The first thing is I just click once. I have my height and my width, and I can type it in and say OK, and I actually get my shape. But most people like to just click and drag, something like this, and that is definitely OK. But what there is there's so many things with just the rectangle tool. I'm going to go over those as individually, okay? So let's go back one more time. Say I want to make a perfect square. I hold that shift button down, just the shift button, and whenever I click and drag, notice it goes anywhere. You'll see it's a perfect square because it has that magenta diagonal going through it, and that means it's perfect. It's a perfect square. And if you look at the width and the height, it's 4.58 by 4.58. So if you want that perfect square all the time, hold the shift button down, click and drag, and then release. Okay. So let's take a look at our actual square itself. You're going to see there are 8 white little squares on the what they call the bounding box. That's what actually holds in the actual shape, or what I can do things with the shape. I'm going to go over to another tool, and of course the very first tool here on the left, it's called the selection tool. So I'll click that, and you'll see that the square still stays the same. What the selection tool does actually selects objects. So if I click off to the left, and you'll see my square, I click it once, and all that happens. I still have my white squares, and I still have these circles in the middle. Let's talk about the white squares. The first thing about the white squares is I can actually manipulate my shape. If I grab this one, I can go up and down. If I drag this one, again, left and right, longer or shorter. Okay? If I grab a corner, yes, I can manipulate it any direction or both directions. I myself usually take the corners and work it that way. Yes, if I hold that shift button down, it stays that perfect square, and as you can see, it has that magenta line. Now, let's take a look at if I hover on the outside, a little outside of that white, I guess it's a corner square, okay? Notice you can see it's 2 arrows going diagonally. That means I can move it diagonally. But let's move a little bit farther out. Notice it looks like it's a boomerang, or it's got like an arrows going, one's going down, one's going to the right. If I click and hold, let's try that one more time. If I click and hold, I'm able to rotate it. And as you can see, there is the percentage of my rotation. So it's at 47.746 degrees. If you're looking for more specifics, again, that shift button is crucial. Hold the shift button down, and you'll see it will go in 45-degree rotation. And that's what I usually use. Mostly in 45 degrees it is. Now, if you're looking for being very specific with your rotation, if we come over here to the far right, you're going to see what it says properties. And you'll see it's got my width and my height already here, the W and the H. And then I also have this small little degrees here. It's got presets in it, so if I click down, let's go 60, it rotates 60 degrees. Let's go back, Control Z, and I can do anything, or I can type in a specific. Say I want to go 25 degrees. Hit Enter, boom. Now, it will also, if you see, in the drop down, it doesn't have it. You can also go negatives. So I go minus, let's say 30. And notice it goes to 333 degrees. So it rotates it it rotates the clockwise as it normally should. But if you want to cheat, you can do a negative and it goes backwards, okay? So let's go back to our square. Let's go back over here. As you can see with my selection tool, I have small circles here. And you'll see that the circle has a small blue circle inside another circle. I'm able to click and hold, and I can drag in the radius. And notice I can round the actual corners of my square or rectangle, whatever you want to call. If it's a perfect square, I should be able to bring it all the way down to the center, and you'll see it makes a circle. So I can actually take a square and make it into a circle if I need to. Do I use it all the time? Yeah, I use this all the time. Say I want to manipulate one or two of the corners, but not all four. It's very simple. I click one. Notice how it changes. It's got a different look. It doesn't have a small blue dot in the middle. That means it's just the one I'm going to use. And you can see there's that curve with a little dot inside. I'm manipulating one. And notice I can change it. Bring it down there like that, and I get this really cool shape. Or I can do something like this. Click here. I'm going to hold the Shift button. Again, Shift speed, the crucial button. Notice I got two that look that way now. If I grab one of them, either one, and click and hold and bring it in, notice just those two work. And I get a really cool shape like that too. Okay? And I can even go up to 3 if I wanted to. Hold that Shift button down, 2 and 3. And let's bring that one in. Notice they all come in. And I've kind of made a teardrop if I wanted to rotate that. Done. Something like that. So that is the square tool. We're going to now look at the next one. It's the ellipse tool. The ellipse tool also is a circle tool, but ellipses are like either way. I can go this way, or I can go this way. And I'm just clicking and dragging and then letting go. If I'm looking for a perfect circle or a perfect size, again, just like the square, I click once, and it gives me the width and the height, and I can type it in. Okay? I usually don't use this. I'm usually a click and drag person manipulating, but that's up to you. If you're very specific and your client's very specific about what it has to be, by all means, please, that's how you do it. I'm going to draw, now say I want to draw a perfect circle. Same thing as a square. Again, as you know, I'm going to say it again, it's the Shift button. Hold that Shift button and notice there's two magenta lines that actually make a plus sign. That means it's a perfect circle. And as you can see, my width and my height are 4.09 by 4.09, and I let go, and there it is. Now, let's go to our selection tool. Click again. Notice it looks normal. I click, but notice you're going to see the 8 squares again. Same thing as the rectangle or the square tool. Can move it easy, okay? Can move it this direction too. Now, mind you, we're not going to want to rotate it because it's a circle. So let's go back here. But the one different thing you're going to see is you're going to see this, like I call it like the little lollipop or little handle here on the right-hand side. Okay, it's got that circle that was inside the squares, the corners. So of course it does something. And if you hover over it, you saw for a little quick preview, you see kind of like a Pac-Man there. And what that means is I can take this circle and I can cut part of the pie out. And you're going to see the start angle and the end angle. The end angle is at 0, that's the one. And notice I can put that at roughly 90 degrees. Boom. I just took 90 degrees out. And again, I can move this one also. Come down here. Let's make that 90. And now just see how you see where your negatives are coming in? And there you have right there. So now I have a half a circle, and now I can rotate it. Let's hold that Shift button down so you get a perfect rotation, and there you go. And again, even when I rotate it, I can still do this. Okay? Click off the side here. Boom. Delete it. Let's take a look at our polygon. Polygon tool is pretty cool. Again, you can click once, and you'll see you'll have a radius and how many sides there is. Once I click and I click the actual and draw the polygon, I'll show you what the radius means. I usually never use this, and I used to only use this just because of the sides. I would want maybe 8 sides, 10 sides. I have to come and I type it in. But I love what Adobe's done, and I'm going to show you right now, okay? So let me cancel out of this. Let me draw a hexagon. And it's always going to be hexagon, okay? That's what their default is. Don't mind that at all. Okay, so I draw it like this. Let's come over here and move it. Here is the radius. It's from here to here. So it's from this button to there. This is the actual center, and then it goes to any one of these corners right here, are these 6 corners. So that's what the radius is. So you can set the radius. So it's not the whole length or the width. It's the radius from the center point out. Okay, so mine was, I think, 2.6 something. So roughly from this point to this point would be roughly 5.2, 5.3, depending on what the number was. So there you go. Now, you're going to see the same white boxes around. Again, it does the same thing. Boop, 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 do. Again, short and fat, or tall and thin. So let's go take a look at one more thing. You'll see a couple other things that you can see. You'll see the little circle here. Yes, I can take it and click it, and it moves all of them. Okay? Can I double click that single one? Let's see. No, I can't. So it only works with all of them together. It's not like the actual square itself where I can manipulate individual ones. This one you can't. So it's okay. Please, this is so much better than what we had, since the evolution of this. This is getting better and better. But you're going to notice one thing about the white boxes. There was 8 like I told you, but notice there's a 9th. And it's in a pretty peculiar spot right here. It's a little off-center. It doesn't make sense. But if you hover over it, you're going to see a plus and a minus sign happen. Well, of course, that means the plus and minus is not corners, but it's going to be sides. I can slide to the left, and notice it goes 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way up to 11 sides. I can take it down now also to, I got a square, and then a triangle. So there's a really cool thing to do. So I have a triangle right here. It looks good. I'm really excited. Usually they have to go in and say that go into the polygon tool, type in 3 to make your square, but you don't have to do that anymore. It's really kind of neat that we can do this, and we can do minus sides, and it's right there. Or if I didn't want a hexagon, let's go right to square. Oh, I got my square. So I really, really like this tool. I like what they've done to it. It's really kind of neat. So let's go to the next one. Let's delete that really quick. And the next one's going to be the star tool. Star tool is going to click and drag. And you got your nice star like this. But again, I can do something like just click once, and I can put in my radius 1 and radius 2. Of course, 5 points. I can do as many points as I want to. I can do up to 100. It's really kind of cool. It's going to be default as 5 because that's a traditional star. So let's go ahead and go cancel and draw that star again. Now you'll notice the star default star is just your basic like star you see on the American flag. It used to be a little bit more rounded where it came out to here and here, but that doesn't happen anymore, which I kind of like. What I also like is that you'll see a whole bunch of things. You've got your little squares, your little white squares here, but there's only 4. So you can only move it this way. If I want to keep it in ratio, hold that shift button down. Oh, messed up there. Hold that shift button down. And notice wherever I bring it, it stays in ratio. And ratio is height to width. Now let's talk about the radiuses. Radius 1, bam. Radius 2, bam. So it goes from a large far point to the middle, short point to the middle. So you can really manipulate that, okay? But there's another way to manipulate those, and I'll get to that in a moment. You'll also see we have the slide tool here. Oh, slide left, 6 points, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to 20 points. Looks really kind of cool, but let's go back to our 5, or we can go all the way down to 3 points. It's not a perfect triangle, but it's something similar to it, or 4 points. Now, we talked about the radius. We have 2 radius here, and the first one you'll see is a white circle here. As you can see, it hovers over. I can move that out. There's your radius, and you can see the radius number actually change. Okay? And that's how the old square used to look like, but now it looks like this. And then we also have our inner square, or our inner radius. I can bring it in, or I can bring it way out. And we can do all kinds of neat things. So they can work in conjunction with each other, and I really, really, truly appreciate that. So it's kind of neat, okay? And then the last thing is we have our 2 little circles with the blue circle inside, and you should know what these are already because I've gone through this is my 4th thing. But I can round out there, and I can round out something like this. And then if we go a bunch of things, oh, going a little too far. Let's see if I can bring those in anymore. No, it's a little too big. Let's go like this. Nope. Hold on. We're going to get there. Trying to get to the point. I can't get it. What I would do is I'd turn this into a cog, and that's what I would do, and I thought it would be pretty kind of cool. But I'm not able to do that right here because these 2 are right on top of each other. But there's how you use the star tool. It's kind of neat. Last but not least is just the line tool. It's a matter of just clicking, and I can click once, and I can make the length of mine, and I can give it an angle if I want to. So that's one thing I can do, or you just click and drag and release. click and drag and release, and click and drag and release. It's just a line. And you'll find over here, we'll dismiss this, you'll see over here, you have my angles of what they're doing right here, like it was with the, if we wanted to rotate the square or anything else. And there's our height and our width. So that takes care of the shape tool. I'm sorry, this one's a little bit long, but I hope that it was informative to you. And we will talk to you guys a little bit later. Enjoy.